We are less than 48 hours to go before the NBA draft, and most of what you hear at this point consists primarily of disinformation. But hey, we are used to being lied to in this town, aren't we? Our Michelle Yu took in Phil Jackson's pre-draft press gathering today.
We're listening. We're not soliciting so much, but we are listening.
Phil Jackson clearly wants to keep all of his options open on draft night. The Knicks have the 4th overall pick, and it's the highest draft pick that they have had since 1986 when they selected Kenny Walker out of Kentucky as the 5th pick. The Zen Master, though, wants to make one thing clear. He doesn't want this to just be a quick fix.
I mean, this is not just one year. I mean, we want to build a team, and then we're going to move forward next year to build an even better team in the following year. So, yeah, but present time, yeah, it's important.
As for what Jackson is looking for, he is looking for one specific trait.
We're looking for mature kids that have a reasonable understanding of their skills and how they'd fit in, and have had some successes in the past because of that. It doesn't jump out right away at us that there's a consensus that this person has the size and the physique that would do that, but no, it's a great hope of ours. And it could come in different ways. I mean, it can come in a player that's not a big. It could be a wing or a guard.
In case you're wondering, Phil Jackson was also asked what are the chances the Knicks would possibly trade their pick, and he responded, a very small percentage, the same amount you would pay in your taxes. With the Knicks, Michelle Yu, SNY.
Nobody knows more about the Knicks than Frank Isola of the Daily News. We're less than 48 hours away here from the draft. If they keep the pick, which way are they leaning right now, Frank?
That's a tough call. I think right now they're looking for size, and with the 4th pick, there's certainly going to be a terrific player available. They did bring in Kristaps Porzingis, the kid from Latvia, 7'1" player. He is 19 years old, so if you're taking a player of that caliber, you're talking about a guy 2, 3, 4 years down the road. There's been a lot of talk about guards. Now, I think if D'Angelo Russell falls, because there's been some talk of the Sixers at 3 taking Porzingis, then I think there's a chance the Knicks could take D'Angelo Russell. But from everything that I've heard, Winslow, they're not that crazy about, and also Emmanuel Mudiay, the point guard that was supposed to go to SMU with Larry Brown, went over to China. I've heard that they're not too crazy about him, so I think they're going to go with the big man.
Okay.
Unless Russell is still on the board, then I think they'll take him. Well,
what about the possibility of a trade here? Phil put it at the tax rate of another one of the beat writers, Berman of the Post today, but what do you think, Frank?
I think that's definitely in play. And I think with Phil Jackson, he also mentioned today about getting a player that is a little bit more mature, which kind of leads you to believe Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin. So you're not going to take Kaminsky at 4. Maybe you'll trade down so you'll get another established player and then take Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin. Here's what's interesting about them bringing in Porzingis. I think they brought him in for a workout because they want it out there that they're thinking about him at 4 to get a team to trade up, and then the Knicks can get somewhat creative for once.
Okay. Frank, I can't believe I'm going to ask this question, but I will. Is there at all any possibility whatsoever that Isaiah Thomas will actually play a factor in this draft?
Well, you know what? If you look at Isaiah's track record, one of his last first-round picks was David Lee, who just won an NBA title. I do believe that Jim Dolan may say to Isaiah Thomas, hey, if you were running the draft, what would you do? And then Isaiah Thomas, I think, will mention a guard's name, either Mudiay or maybe Winslow, someone of that nature. Do I think if Jim Dolan went to Phil Jackson and said, this is who Isaiah thinks, Phil Jackson is going to say, well, I don't care. I'm running the show. So I do not think that Isaiah Thomas will have any influence on who the Knicks pick at 4 or if they trade the pick.
Thank you, Frank. Good stuff.
Thanks, Chris.